Yandu greets the White Tiger kids with her trademark sass, calling out, "Hi, next-door jerks," before confidently announcing she's joining their ranks. Sua scoffs, dismissing Yandu as unqualified, but Yandu counters sharply, accusing them of inventing arbitrary rules to exclude others. While Yol seems entertained by the banter, Ha-jun loses his temper, yelling at Yandu to leave. Annoyed, she snaps back, biting him, no less, and defiantly declares she's staying because she has nowhere else to go. The situation escalates when teacher Im drags Yandu to the staff room by her collar, his temper boiling. Both freeze in their tracks when an indignant voice commands him to stop. It's Yandu's mom. Furious, Mom lambasts the school for mistreating her daughter and threatens to report them, demanding an immediate transfer. But mid-rant, Yandu desperately whispers to her mom that she doesn't want to leave, throwing a wrench in her mother's fiery outburst. Outside, Yandu asks if her mom got the scoop from Dong-jae. Mom collapses onto a bench, lamenting that she probably ruined everything, but Yandu is impressed, listing all the ways her mom stood up to the school. Relieved, Mom admits she's glad Yandu is staying, but asks if she's sure she can handle it. Yandu promises to persevere and vows to reclaim real king. Mom, beaming, agrees that studying is overrated if dancing makes her happy, as long as she doesn't struggle alone. They share a heartfelt hug, with Yandu telling her mom she's amazing. That night, Yandu camps out in Baekho headquarters, bundled in a sleeping bag while studying on the floor. Teacher Im storms in, threatening her with more demerits, but she brushes him off, daring him to go ahead. Frustrated, he resorts to physically dragging her out. At lunch, Yandu ramps up her resistance, joined by her loyal friend Hyo-shik. They parade around holding placards with civic messages on one side. When teacher Im isn't watching, they flip them to reveal their true slogans, "We want to dance," and Hyo-shik's cheeky addition, "Play, play, because we're young." Naturally, they get caught and are sentenced to clean the gym. Their punishment turns into a lively gathering as two more Real King members join in with mops in hand, transforming the chore into a spirited activity. When it's time to water the plants, curly-haired Sung-woo joins them, and it all devolves into a playful water fight. Yeol watches the scene from a distance, puzzled by Yandu's relentless determination. Ha-jun fumes when a stray splash of water hits him, but Yeol holds him back, remarking wistfully, "They're just acting like 18-year-olds. Teacher Im, as relentless as Yandu, eventually chases her down again. This time, she crashes into Yeol, toppling onto him. Embarrassed, she scrambles to get up, but Yeol pulls her closer, teasing, "You're always ambushing me." Flashing back to their last close encounter, he begins, 1, only for her to bolt upright, babbling nervously. Amused, Yeol watches her leave, but his expression softens when he sees her meeting Dong-jae. Dong-jae, ever calm, hands Yandu a strawberry milk, and they stroll away together. Later, Yeol buys himself a strawberry milk from the cafeteria, raising it to Ha-jun with a curious smile. In the gym, Dong-jae gently towels off Yandu's damp hair as she sighs in frustration. Her group had landed in trouble again because of her, and she wonders aloud how she'll ever face them if she can't get Real King back. Without a word, Dong-jae picks up a basketball and starts shooting hoops. Kang Yandu will persist until the end, he declares, sinking the ball cleanly into the net. Kang Yandu will fight Sevet high and win, he continues, making another shot. Yandu watches, her spirits lifting slightly, and takes her own turn at shooting. The ball misses, leaving her even more dejected as she heads out of the gym. Dong-jae, with his usual calm, makes one final shot and calls out, "Kang Yandu will get Real King back." Meanwhile, Sua reflects bitterly on a mock Ivy League interview. The panel had scrutinized her stellar list of accomplishments, but ultimately dismissed her for lacking the emotional depth and human connection that make achievements meaningful. Humiliated, she turned to her consultant, Director Lee, demanding a solution to gain the impact she needs to stand out. Later, as she leaves the dormitory to meet Director Lee, Sua's path is blocked by Yandu wielding a mop. Yandu orders her to clean, pointedly reminding her of her earlier behavior. Sua scoffs, advising Yandu to keep her head down and avoid more trouble. Yandu doesn't back down, vowing to watch Sua fail, apologize, and clean up her messes. Infuriated, Sua pushes past her. In the corridor, Director Lee crosses paths with Yeol, offering him a sly smile. She suggests his talents are too great to waste and encourages him to consider an Ivy League future, slipping him her card. Around the corner, Sua confronts her, but Lee brushes her off, casually assuring her that her primary focus is securing Sua's place at Harvard. Elsewhere, Principal Choi throws a fit in her office as Teacher Im cowers. The phone buzzes incessantly with complaints from furious parents, though the specifics remain unclear. Desperate, Im suggests reinstating the Real King Club, even if it's in a storage closet, to appease the students. Principal Choi flatly refuses, determined not to yield. Director Lee saunters into the office without invitation. Over a cup of tea, she lays out her proposal. Soo-ah needs to win a cheerleading competition to gain the impact she lacks. Principal Choi balks at the impossibility of turning the school into a cheerleading champion overnight, but Lee dismisses her concerns with a parting command to make it happen. In the laundry room, Yandu stares tearfully at a washing machine spinning with her precious belongings inside, fuzzy slippers, a trophy, and a framed photo of the Real King members. Soo-ah stands nearby, coldly informing her that she cleaned, as Yandu had demanded, before walking away with her smirking minions. Setting the now-wet photo on top of the machine, Yandu warns Soo-ah and her crew that they've gone too far. The Baek-ho girls sneer and mock her belongings, shoving her back and forth. Outnumbered and losing, Yandu suddenly finds herself joined by the Real King members, who charge into the fray. In retaliation, they stuff the Baek-ho girls' belongings into another machine, balancing the scales. Breathless and exhilarated, the Real King group escapes into the night, laughing as Yandu proclaims, "Real King isn't dead yet." The jubilant mood is shattered when Jun-soo, the group's quietest member, smashes the rescued group photo on the ground. "Real King is dead," he declares, urging them to wake up. If they can just endure until college, he insists, they'll be free to dance all they want then. In the heavy silence that follows, Yandu asks how they can live like the dead when they're still alive. Why can't they be with their friends, dance, and find happiness now? Jun-soo replies bitterly that they don't have permission to be happy, so they can't. Frustrated and disheartened, he walks away, leaving the group in stunned silence. The following day, the Real King gang, minus Jun-soo, bands together with Yeondu and Hyo-shik to continue their Occupy Baek-ho campaign. With their support, Yeondu's spirits lift, and she spontaneously kicks off a dance practice. Soon, all five are dancing and laughing, their camaraderie palpable. Principal Choi happens to walk by with Teacher Im, who rushes off to scold the group. However, the principal lingers, watching the scene with a speculative glint in her eye. When Teacher Im delivers their punishment, the group's cheery attitude surprises him. They decide running laps isn't so bad, given the beautiful weather. Frustrated but powerless, Im storms off, only for Principal Choi to appear and summon everyone, Real King and Baek-ho members alike, to the Baek-ho clubroom the next day. The atmosphere in the clubroom is tense as the two groups face off. Hyo-shik jokes with fellow Real King member Da-mi to go easy on the skinny anchovies of Baek-ho, which prompts Ha-jun to lunge at them in anger. Yandu intervenes, reminding everyone they were invited. The squabbling halts as Principal Choi arrives. Teacher Im introduces the Project Win Cheerleading competition, citing reasons like reclaiming the school's glorious past. But Principal Choi cuts in with brutal honesty. The Education Ministry requires this as damage control for Yeondu's prior protest. She then drops a bombshell. Real King's Yandu and Baek-ho's Yeol must team up and win the regional cheerleading competition. Outrage ripples through both clubs. Yandu declares the idea mission impossible, but Principal Choi counters with a tantalizing incentive. If they win, Real King will be reinstated. Yandu wavers, nearly agreeing, when Yeol interrupts sharply. Calling her out for her naivety, he dials a number. On speakerphone, Director Lee, Soo-ah's consultant, unwittingly exposes the truth. Baek-ho's participation in the cheerleading competition is a calculated move to boost Ivy League applications. The room is stunned. Yeol points out that someone clearly needs the cheerleading spec for college, his gaze landing on Soo-ah. A flashback reveals Director Lee assuring Soo-ah and her mother that their chances of success are high with only 2 competitors. Back in the present, Yeondu realizes the principal's true motive, using Real King to prop up Baek-ho and, by extension, Soo-ah's aspirations. Principal Choi coolly brushes off the accusation, reminding Yeondu that all she wants is her club back. Enraged, Yeondu refuses to be manipulated. Soo-ah storms out, but Yeondu follows, demanding an apology. Soo-ah retorts, her voice rising, that Yandu enjoys her privileges at Sevid High thanks to her family's payments. "So what's the big deal about shaking your body a bit?" she sneers. Yandu calls her pitiful, but Soo-ah doubles down, warning her to remember her place. On the rooftop, Soo-ah breaks down, screaming into the phone at Director Lee. Her mother calls next, and Sua assures her she'll get into Harvard, with or without cheerleading. Just then, a basketball accidentally hits her head, Dongjae's. He apologizes profusely, insisting it was unintentional this time. Observing her, he notes she seems to live a hard life, then promises to forget everything he overheard. Meanwhile, the real King members debate their next move. Sungwoo and Dami consider taking the cheerleading offer, but Hyo-shik objects, calling it betrayal since Sua caused their disbandment. Their discussion is interrupted by news of their confirmation for a dance competition, reigniting their excitement, momentarily forgetting their troubles. Elsewhere, Yandu's mom meets with Yeol's dad, lamenting her outburst at the school. She worries about the strain she's placed on Yandu by sending her to Sevet High. Yeol's dad reassures her that piling on academic specs is the only way they know to prepare their kids for the future. He admits Yeol enrolled to escape him, which earns a teasing remark from Yandu's mom about father and son being equally stubborn. Back in the dorms, Dongjae stumbles upon a horrifying sight, Ha-jun lying unconscious and bleeding in the bathroom. The scene triggers Dongjae's trauma, leaving him frozen as Yeol arrives and urgently tries to get help. Unable to wait, Yeol carries Ha-jun out himself, accidentally dropping a bloodied towel in the process. Sua notices the towel and picks it up with a calculating expression. Later, Sua meets Principal Choi, presenting the towel as leverage. "I think I know how to get real King to cooperate," she smirks. At the dance festival, Yandu and her friends, now energized, storm the stage. They toss off their capes, revealing edgy outfits beneath their school uniforms, and perform an electrifying routine. Midway through, Yandu twists her ankle, but powers through to the end. Afterwards, the group is somber as Sungwoo and Jung-eun announce their decision to quit. They explain they participated in the festival for Yandu, but insist real King is over. The group is left shattered, their earlier victory overshadowed by the looming reality of their disbandment. Yandu takes responsibility for the group's morale and suggests a consolation Noraebang outing. However, Sungwoo and Jung-eun decline, saying they need to return to school. Taking their decision in stride, Yandu assures them she has somewhere to be as well. At the hospital, Yandu gets her ankle treated. On her way out, she notices Yeol leaning against a wall. He brushes her off, telling her to mind her own business, but Ha-jun appears, revealing a bandaged wrist and blood-stained shirt. Alarmed, Yandu hesitates, but Yeol firmly tells her, "You didn't see us today." She limps away, casting a final concerned glance over her shoulder. As she navigates the hospital corridors, Yandu spots Teacher Yang arguing at the admin desk. Ducking to avoid him, she signals frantically to Yeol and Ha-jun. Yeol slips past behind a gurney, but Ha-jun veers off in another direction. Yeol ends up hiding with Yandu in a corner, clamping a hand over her mouth to keep her quiet. When Teacher Yang finally moves on, Yeol exhales in relief and leans his head against hers for a moment. Realizing the proximity, he pulls back with a teasing comment, "You're not so bad when you're quiet." Yandu glares, signaling for him to remove his hand, which he sheepishly does. Reunited, Ha-jun joins them, and they part ways. As Yeol turns to leave, he calls out with a crinkled smile, "Thanks, our Yandu." Embarrassed, she brushes it off. Nearby, Teacher Yang overhears Ha-jun's name at the admin desk and pieces together the situation. Back at school, Dongjae waits for Yandu on the steps. She greets him with open arms, expecting a hug, but he walks past her to the boys instead. Yeol dismisses him with a sharp get lost and sweeps past. Frustrated, Yandu confronts Dongjae, demanding to know what's going on. He avoids her gaze, saying quietly, "I can't." His blank expression leaves her disheartened. From the shadows, Teacher Yang observes with mounting concern. Later, in an empty classroom, Teacher Yang confronts Ha-jun with a hospital report. He pushes up Ha-jun's sleeve, exposing not only fresh bandages, but scars from years of self-harm. Gently, he urges Ha-jun to seek help. Panicked, Ha-jun drops to his knees, begging him not to tell the principal. If his father finds out, he fears being institutionalized. Meanwhile, Principal Choi questions Yeol about Ha-jun's self-harming, slyly suggesting that his parents might look into alternative facilities. She dangles a cruel ultimatum: Yeol must agree to the cheerleading competition and convince the real King kids to join as well. Her smirk widens when she points out his goal to graduate alongside Ha-jun, knowing she has him cornered. Elsewhere, Yandu spots Sungwoo and Jung-eun in the hallway and lights up. But her smile fades as they enter a classroom with Sua. Curious, Yandu peeks in and sees Sua showing them a video of stunt cheerleading. Her heart sinks as she realizes this is why they left the group. That night, Yandu stretches out on a picnic bench under the stars with Dongjae. She confides that she's been betrayed again. How does that keep happening? Dongjae asks quietly. Her voice heavy with sadness, she replies, I wish I knew. The next day, Yeol and Ha-jun emerge from separate meetings, both tense. Yeol smiles at Ha-jun, brushing off the unease by asking, hungry? Ha-jun apologizes. Yeol snorts, calling him crazy, and they share a rare moment of lightness. In the morning, Dongjae notices Yandu avoiding the real king kids and questions her. She denies it, but her actions suggest otherwise. Yeol interrupts, asking for a private word, throwing a glance at Dongjae. Dongjae obligingly steps back, all of 2 paces. King Yandu, let's do cheerleading together, Yeol says bluntly. Shocked by his sudden change of heart, Yandu folds her arms. 1, I don't hang out with people who go back on their word. 2, I refuse to be even remotely associated with Sua. With each point, she steps closer to him. 3, she declares, inches from his face. I definitely won't be doing cheerleading with you.